Welcome to How We Heard It, the podcast about music, pop culture, movies, and more, with your hosts Wayne Bledsoe and Chuck Campbell.
Stravo! This is Chuck Campbell with
Wayne Bledsoe, and
I'm John Baker.
That was hi in Slovenian. So if you're in Slovenia for any reason, there's a little pointer for you. It's not an easy language, but at least you can say Stravo.
The current best cycle racing person in the world right now is Slovenian.
And if you see him, you can say Stravo.
Stravo.
Okay, so Wayne, so a year ago we did an episode on scary movies, and we did an episode on scary music. We wanted to be fresh and forward-thinking with our scary movies topic, so I only did recent movies that people may have not had time to see, and you did a lot of less well-known movies that people should see. We just blew off like all the popular movies all together.
pretty much, yeah.
So, you suggested we do what?
Well, I thought we needed to narrow it down and do something that was, we could be very specific and
Right.
and we wouldn't have so much room to wiggle around. So I suggested several different possibilities, and we landed on movies about possession.
Yeah. And I was like, just possession? Just
you
movies
always are.
about possession? How on earth can we talk about that for a whole episode? And you said we can talk about anything for an hour. I said, but can we make it interesting?
Well, sure.
But yeah, I felt better about it when you said we're not just talking about the standby, Catholic Satan possession with the priest and all that. That's not our only type of. There are other types of possession. I thought, all right, I can swim with this.
I mean, there's demon possession. There's ghost possession, whatever. As long as the plot of the movie depends on someone who is being controlled by something else.
Right. So not strictly a ghost movie or a vampire movie or something like that, even though they can control people. Okay.
Although I think the pinnacle of this is going to be The Exorcist.
Oh, okay.
Or
a failure to get an exorcist.
No. The movie The Exorcist.
Oh, yes.
The movie The Exorcist.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's the benchmark.
That 1973 movie, all these years later, that's still like the benchmark for horror films. And
right.
Especially possession movies.
And it was actually nominated for Best Picture, which was like almost a first for a horror film.
It was one of the best movies of all times.
Yeah.
Regardless of genre.
Scary as all get out.
Yep. Yeah.
Like did things that nobody had done in movies before.
Yeah.
Special effects that were just, now you look at them and you think, oh, this is kind of hokey.
For God's sake, that was 55 years. What was it? How long ago was that?
Well, I'm not so good with math.
Yeah.
52, I don't know, something like that. Over half a century ago.
But here's a movie that was made before any, digital effects were possible.
Yeah.
Special effects were all done basically kind of in real time with real things. And when the little girl spins her head around backwards and you're watching that in the theater in 1973, you're like, holy shit!
Well, I didn't see it in the theater, obviously, but when I first saw it, it was on cable, and they edited the hell out of it.
Oh, no.
So there was none of the language, and there were no head spinning. I think even the levitation may have been.
Was there green puke?
Gosh.
I don't even remember the green puke. I don't know. It was like the language cut out. I thought, I don't know if this is scary or not, but it did still scare me, even out of context and herky-jerky as it was. It was still...
It had scary music.
Yeah, it had scary music, and they didn't edit that out.
And, the thing is, it's directed by William Friedkin, who has directed the most suspenseful movies, I think, of all time, including Sorcerer, which came after The Exorcist, I've recommended it before. Mm-hmm. And then before that, it was The French Connection, which has one of the greatest car chases of all time and is suspenseful as all get out. So when he went to do an actual horror film, I saw it at the theater. My family.
You saw it. Yeah. How did you? You were.
I was 13.
12, 13?
I was 13.
How did you get into that movie?
The whole family went. It was a family event.
Okay.
And we had to wait. There was
I like your family.
It was the Westtown Theater, which was just a standalone theater in the middle of the parking lot at Westtown Mall.
Okay.
It had a name, didn't it?
Westtown Theater.
But it had like some kind of like in Cinerama or some kind of thing.
I don't think so. I just got the Westtown Theater, but it was the biggest theater in town, and it had like a wraparound screen.
Yep.
So they could show that sort of thing. But it was so popular, we had to wait for an entire, we got there like for the 7 o'clock show and had to wait in line until the 9:30 show or whatever it was.
Wow.
And everybody did. It was this big line. It was such an event.
Wow.
And the place was sold out. It was packed, and you're watching it, and people are screaming and scared to death. It was great.
Were you scared or were you?
Heck yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
It was the scariest movie I had ever seen.
Right.
And it was one of the only, I was 13, and still I was like, I'm not turning that light off. And it was so funny. My sister was pregnant with my nephew, and it was like, we were worried something's going to come out wrong with that one. It came out just fine. But, the whole family was scared to death. It was great.
What was your encounter with it, John? Did you actually?
I want to say it was on cable.
Okay. Yeah.
We were 9 years old then. There was no way we were going to get into that movie.
Well, for me, I knew there was a book that came out. So
I read the book too.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
okay.
and I was 13.
Okay, wow.
After the movie or before?
I can't remember now. I think it was actually before the movie because the book was the thing. So I may have read the book at 12.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. That's just insane. Well, so my reference point for all things Catholic was a friend of mine, Jimbo, a really close friend. There were some other family friends who were Catholic also, but Jimbo, his family I don't think was particularly religious, but he loved the Catholic lore and the Bible lore, and he liked Jesus Christ Superstar, and he liked Revelations. He would tell me everything that's going to happen in Revelations. I'm like, what? That's crazy. And I thought, these Catholics are crazy. I thought, no, it's just Jimbo, just how he was. So, of course, he was all about The Exorcist. And I think this was after the book came out, after the movie came out, but he got his hands on the book. And he read it, and he was telling me about it. I thought, okay, I got to read this book. And I don't know if I had his copy or got my own copy or what. But I couldn't get through the book. I was just reading the book, and there was a part. It was very subtle in the beginning and kind of like a slow burn because it's like, no just sudden opening monster or anything like that. And the mother was noticing things were different, and she was hearing a tapping, like a rhythmic tapping at night.
Yeah.
And I had a bunk bed at that time, and even though I didn't have a roommate in my bedroom, I always slept on the bottom bunk. And I was reading about that, and I just kept imagining like a head suddenly looking down from the top bunk, with the tapping, and like some demonic face and dangling hair and all that. And I got more and more scared of it. And I think the woman in the book was like, oh, it must be mice or something. I told Mom, I said, do we have mice in the attic? And she was like, no, we don't have mice in the attic. And anyway, it really worked with my head. So I didn't finish the book. And when I first saw it on cable, it still scared me with all the edits. And then when I first saw the unedited version, oh my gosh, it was like, I couldn't believe. The levitation really what got me even more than the head spin.
Well, and it was so well done, and that scene where she levitates, and then suddenly you just see her shadow, and then you see like the demon raise his hand up.
Yeah, in the shadow.
Yeah, it was like, oh, that was just scary as hell.
It was. It really was, and and if you just keep in mind that anything like that had been done before. Now levitation. You see it. But then it was just like, that was so, I don't remember even, I remember there were stories about how they did what they did.
Right.
And, the set was haunted or whatever. And all the things, the stories coming out, like all the people passing out in the movies. And I think they really were passing out in the movies. And the ambulances were waiting outside. And it was like, I'm never going to see that, But yeah, it was just remarkable. And, Linda Blair was great casting. Of course, Friedkin is the director. I've got him noted for some other things he's done.
Ellen
too.
Burstyn.
Ellen Burstyn is the mom. Yeah.
And she's always great.
Yeah.
But she is so human and so real. That's the thing I like so much about her is like, she's kind of a flawed person, but she's a really good person.
Yeah.
And, as a parent now, I appreciate that performance even more because she is so distraught and you feel it.
Yeah. Yeah.
She can't do anything.
Well, then there was The Exorcist 2, The Heretic.
Which you love the soundtrack, I know.
I bought the soundtrack for that one. That was like, 77. It was years later, and I recorded the soundtrack, took it to school, and all my friends were like, "Ooh, that's scary." And so I knew the soundtrack before I ever saw the movie.
Right.
I don't remember when I saw the movie for that either, but it was not as scary. It was, now, looking back, it was hugely disappointing if you were wanting to be groundbreaking and scary.
Yeah.
And it was weird.
Different director?
John Boorman, who was a great director.
John Boorman, yeah.
And he just I think he wanted to make a different movie. I've read things about it. He had plans, and it's this stuff couldn't happen.
Right. Well, the girl, Linda Blair still.
Right.
She's 4 years older, so she's older teen now.
Right.
So she's, and she was okay. And I don't think Ellen Burstyn was back for that.
No,
It had Richard Burton. Oh, Louise Fletcher was in
she
it
was
too. She was the doctor who had invented a machine where two people could be hypnotized at the same time and being in each other's minds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of hokey. But it had some interesting, it had a lot of, I guess it was Africa or somewhere in the middle? Okay,
Africa.
So they had some scenes in Africa and the genesis of Pazuzu.
Pazuzu.
And I am Pazuzu. And where I still am not sure if Pazuzu was good or bad because it was this kid who would become, driven by Pazuzu, but he could drive away the locusts, and calm the locusts and all. Anyway, it didn't really make sense, and it wasn't particularly good. Great soundtrack.
Well, it's kind of I think it's kind of a fun train wreck. It's one of those things where you're kind of shaking your head the whole time, like, I can't believe they did this.
Yeah. And for some reason, Linda Blair is, in a musical production on a stage. And then we're back to the kid in the, hiding in the cave. And,
Does she get possessed again?
Yeah. So I guess the thing is that
you think she'd recognize it coming on?
She was not ever purely free from it,
right.
I guess. So she still had remnants of Satan running through her, even though she had it mostly under control. Right. And I don't know if it's true.
I've got this possession mostly under control. Yeah. That's what I tell people. I used to tell them on dates. Yeah.
I'm usually not.
I used to be possessed, but I got over it mostly.
It's just a flare up now, But then. I want to go on to Exorcist 3, 1990.
Which is good.
And at first I thought, well, this is going to be disappointing. And
when was Exorcist
1990.
2? When was Exorcist 2?
77. So it was Exorcist.
So it was a good
2
bit
just
later.
4 years after the first one, but then
and it's
3 came 13 years later.
But the interesting thing about that is it's directed by the fellow who wrote The Exorcist, William Peter Blatty.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And
George C. Scott.
And George C. Scott's good in it. Yeah. And it's
Jason Miller from the first movie.
Right.
Brad Dourif is
Brad Dourif's great.
Yeah, it's got a great kind of tie-in to they call him the Gemini killer, but it's really the Zodiac killer is basically what the inspiration. So you've got a serial killer that's in a hospital. And I don't know, it's interesting concept, and one thing I like about it is in the first one, and technically I guess in the second one, children were more susceptible to being possessed.
Well, this is one of the things about the whole possession thing. It's young adolescents who are nearly always the problem.
Right. And aren't they always?
Yeah, I know. It's how can you tell the difference? I mean, you're possessed or you're just a teenager.
But the spin in The Exorcist 3 is it's adults, older adults with dementia.
Right.
So they're at a senior facility, and a lot of them don't have dementia, and they're fine. But there's 2 or 3 of them that have dementia, and they get possessed.
Oh, yeah.
And they have abilities the old woman crawling across the ceiling.
Oh, I loved it.
It's like, I didn't know what to expect when I saw this, and I went by myself, and I was like, oh my God, this is actually scary.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be, and I wasn't ready for this. It's not scary the way the first one was, but it still had some kind of inventive type plot points.
And there's a scene in the hospital.
Oh my God,
that is still one of the scariest scenes ever.
Ever. You're talking about the
sheet.
Stationary camera down the hall,
right?
From
and
the
you see
station,
the figure with the sheet go by.
Yeah. Oh, but it's a protracted scene, so you're just watching this nurse, in the middle of the night, kind of going about her duties, and you're like, why are we sitting down here at the end of the hall watching her? And like a security guard comes and goes and comes back and leaves again, and then she has like an encounter, a scary moment with the ice melting and all that. Okay. And it just keeps going and keeps going. And then, boy, when it hits its climax, you don't see it coming. It's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like my chest close up, when I was watching it in the theater. I was like, did I just see that? And it was like so great, I mean, it's just like, and she was just a nurse doing her job,
But that technique, I mean, where you sort of you don't expect to see it, and it's nearly out of the corner of your eye because it's just like you're watching other things.
Right.
It's like
this is right in your face when it finally
when
happens.
it happens. It does, but it's kind of like it feels like there's a movie Repulsion that Roman Polanski did, where this woman is going crazy, but it's like she opens the door and the door has a mirror on it.
Right.
And you see a figure in the mirror.
Right.
And it's kind of like that, where it's like all of a sudden this person is out of nowhere.
Right.
And you weren't expecting it. And it's like, oh,
yeah, well, right when you think, it must have been, that scene of the ice, the cop, and it's like, oh no, that had nothing to do with what's about to happen,
Yeah.
But that was great, and also the friendship that George C. Scott had with, was it Ed Flanders? That was his friend in the hospital, at that hospital.
Oh, I can't remember.
Well, and they killed his friend, and they shook all the blood out of him when they were talking about it. Just did this cutaway, and you see this terrifying thing, this old man who's in a bed, and he's just being like shook in fast motion, and the Satanist, the demonic spirit that's talking to George C. Scott says, I had to shake every drop out of him, and then you just see that cutaway, and it was just like, I don't know, it was really well done considering what a debacle Part 2 was.
Yeah, and William Peter Blatty never directed another movie.
No, he did a great job with that.
And it was like, I'm glad that he took charge and took his franchise back basically for at least this one movie, and it turned out to be.
It was good. It was
surprisingly
a good movie on its own. There were a couple of sequels, 2004, 2005, that were basically the same movie, just in different. I didn't think much of those. Did you see the 2023 one? It's kind of in the middle. I thought it was okay because it goes back to like adolescence again, and you got these two girls who disappear mysteriously, and they're friends. They're like 12, 13, I don't know, year olds, and they disappear for 3 days, and when they're found, they go back to their families. They're not sisters, they're just friends. And something's not quite right about either one of them. And as it grows, you realize that they can't both survive, and it was pretty good, I mean,
I just have to go back and try it. I saw pieces of it, and it was like, I don't really want to sit.
I was kind of hit and miss, but when I sat and watched it, it was like, okay, that was decent.
Okay.
So, you want to move on to another franchise, or are we still on The Exorcist?
Well, since we did The Exorcist. And the thing that really, cinched you on doing it, let's talk about The Shining, which never showed up on any of the Possession movie lists.
Let me quickly say there's supposed to be, Mike Flanagan is supposed to be going to direct a reboot of the first Exorcist. And it keeps getting postponed. It was going to be in 2026. I don't know if it's ever really going to happen, but there's still I kind of wish they'd just leave it alone now, but we'll see. He's not bad. He does a lot of horror films.
He's not bad, but I was really disappointed in the sequel, quote unquote, to The Shining.
Okay. Well, let's talk about The Shining then. Go for it.
Well, I mean, that's not ever listed as a possession movie, but it is a possession movie.
Right.
Because Jack Nicholson, even though Jack Nicholson is half crazy when the movie starts.
Right.
Something in that hotel takes control.
Right.
Whatever the...
Right. And
evil spirit that's there.
Yeah, there's an evil spirit there or something. And because I was thinking, is this just because, I didn't want to just go with people who have like a psychotic disorder or something like that. And something else has happened to him. Of course, the end scene kind of teases that, there was something.
Right.
But he very much has all the symptoms of someone who's possessed and getting worse and worse. He's wonderfully cast, and I think Shelley Duvall is wonderfully cast.
Oh my gosh, she's great.
And then the little kid was great, and Scatman Crothers had a little role, but it's mainly this couple and the little boy kind of as a, doing this and that like kids do. But they're going to be the winter caretakers for an old grand hotel in Colorado.
I think it's Colorado.
Yeah, what's it called? The hotel is, I can't remember. Oh, Overlook Hotel, that was it. And the man, Nicholson's character. And it's just basically the two of them, and Shelley Duvall talks to people like on the CB now and then to see how the snow is and all. And they get kind of snowed in. So it's claustrophobic, even though it's in this big, grand hotel. And go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, it's funny because I saw this when it came out, too.
When did it come out?
What was that?
80. 1980.
It was 80? Okay.
Yeah.
But first time I saw it, I had the same reaction that Stephen King, who hated it, had.
It was based on his book from 1977.
And Stephen King said, Jack Nicholson, the character's already crazy. And that's the way I felt the first time I saw it. But like all Stanley Kubrick movies, the first time you see it is not how you're going to feel about it.
Yeah, because Kubrick's the director.
Right.
But yeah.
The second time I saw it, it was like, this is really scary. And the third time I saw it, it was like, it's become like my comfort film. I love this movie. But the third time I saw it, it was like, this is scary as hell.
Right.
And I still, no matter how many times I've seen it, I still get creeped out. And I still feel the suspense, even though I know every scene in this movie.
Right. Normally with possession movies, I think, what would it be like? To feel like you're possessed, to feel like you're losing it, and I go through that all the time, and I kind of identify with the main character. Think, oh, God, I hope that never happens. And the thing with The Shining, the more I watch it, the more I identify with Shelley Duvall. It's like, what would you do if you got a little boy to protect, you're cut off from the world, and your husband's going insane and more insane every day?
And she is so good at playing an abused woman. She's endured probably physical, although we don't
before
see
they
it.
even got to the hotel, you get the sense. Yeah,
but psychological abuse for sure. Yeah. And there's a mysterious thing. It's I think in the book it's a little more direct on what happened, but that like the father, Jack Nicholson, has like yanked his son or something to break his arm at some point. Yeah. Because they make references to that, so that violence is there.
Yeah.
And then when you just watch him coming apart. And there's the scene where he's been typing and typing and typing because he's a wannabe author working on his book.
Yeah.
And when she walks up and sees the typewriter and there's stacks and stacks of paper and all it says is, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Yeah. It is one of the most terrifying scenes in any movie.
And she's flipping through the pages and the words shift in different forms.
He's made paragraphs.
Yeah, and the paragraphs are different. And there's like, they'll come down to a point, and she's just turning the page, and she's getting more and more horrified. This is all he's typed this whole time.
For months.
He's been typing this over. And, the whole time she's trying to keep a lid on it. She's doing the abused spouse syndrome of just trying to make everything okay, trying to head off any kind of problem and dismiss it and be friendly and act like everything's fine, And it's getting harder and harder to do this, and she's worried that she's in danger, and if she's in danger, her son's in danger, and it was.
And of course, the connection, the Shining, is the fact that the little boy can foresee things and see, some of these spirits. Which there's the dead twin girls that says, "Danny, come play with us.
Come and play with us."
But Scatman Crothers, who's like I don't remember what his role is at the hotel, but he's gone to Florida or whatever, on vacation. But he recognized immediately
he's got the Shining,
that he's got the same thing.
Scatman,
exactly. Scatman Crothers, and that's the thing is he feels that connection.
Yeah,
and when he realizes that it's something like sparks that he thinks that they're in danger. Yeah, he contacts them.
Yeah,
but and then he's one of those guys you forget he's in the movie.
Right,
and he's such a great part of it.
Well, yeah, he's kind of pivotal in a way.
Yeah,
because that's when we're completely out of it. But there was a Shining. There was a Stephen King wrote another book called Dr. Sleep. Did you see any of that? Mike Flanagan directed that.
I know. I saw it and I was really disappointed.
I didn't see it.
And that was supposedly a sequel to?
Yeah, it was.
From 2019, so it was long, 39 years later.
It's Danny all grown up, basically.
29 years later.
Danny's the boy?
Yeah.
39 years later.
And he finds other people who have The Shining, and, there's good and bad.
Yeah.
But
there was like the TV miniseries, too, in 97. I didn't see that.
Yeah, and that's the one that Stephen King was like all hot on because it really followed the book. But the movie is, the book is great, but the movie is another thing, just drawing the source from it that I think is actually better.
Yeah. I found a lot of other like Shining type things where the location is sort of the genesis of the possession, even though like Poltergeist is definitely a ghost story, but the kinds of things that were happening to the people in there where they would be temporarily possessed. I figure if you get possessed by whatever's going on, but then you get back to normal again, it's not the kind of possession that we're talking about in general.
We're talking about demons. Demons or...
Yeah.
Was Poltergeist a Stephen King story?
No. Poltergeist, I don't remember who wrote
Spielberg
it.
directed
but
it.
Yeah, Spielberg... Well, no. Spielberg produced it, and it seems like he directed it, but Tobe Hooper actually directed it.
Okay.
Tobe Hooper's the guy who did Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay. The Amityville Horror, those kind of the house itself, is that what are you laughing at?
Well, I rewatched the Amityville Horror 2, The Possession, last night.
Okay.
Because, I was not a big fan of the Amityville Horror first movie.
Okay.
It was okay.
Okay, yeah.
But the second one, and it's an awful, awful movie,
right,
is extraordinarily entertaining.
Is it?
It's
okay.
You'd love
because it's so bad?
Yeah, partly because it's so bad, but it actually manages to get some scares in, even though it's the script is kind of terrible. It's like they take the whole bucket of possession, tropes and throw it in there. You get them all. You get the priest, like James Olsen, who was in the Andromeda Strain and was a pretty good actor. His performance just screams, "Hey, I got bills to pay, bud." And it's like you got all those tropes, you got all this nastiness, and then you have brother-sister incest thrown on top of it.
Oh, my God. I don't remember that.
Which makes it kind of extra icky.
Yeah.
And when I was watching it last night, I was thinking, it's almost like John Waters ghost wrote this. Because
that would be a better version, I think.
I'd love to see what he thought of this movie. Because, it's a sort of, you've got Burt Young, who always played jerks in movies. He's an abusive father who's like, he starts to smack up on the wife. He's already smacked up on the kid. And, you get James Olsen as the priest who comes in, and Burt Young won't let him in, hates the guy. And then you have the oldest brother getting possessed by the demon and seduces his younger sister.
Oh, wow.
So you got that going on.
Yeah, we didn't get that in the first one, right? So,
no. And if I read up on this, and the stuff they wanted to put in was even crazier, I would love to see that version.
Well, I saw the first one.
Uh-huh.
And I saw that there have been about 20
versions
of the Amityville, which I didn't realize, and I haven't seen most of them. I don't recall the second one. The first one I thought was okay. It came out in 1979, and you got to put that in context of so many great horror films were all over the place.
Oh, yeah, it was a great era.
So I think that even though it was a good movie, I don't think it really stood out because everything was coming out then, everything from the slasher films to Alien and all those great movies. So I think it didn't really stand out to me from that era.
It was a big success.
But I thought it was. Yeah, for sure. And it was different than the others, and it was fine. And I thought the 2005 Ryan Reynolds, in the original, it was James Brolin and Margot Kidder. Mm-hmm. And then in 2005, Ryan Reynolds played the crazy dude, and he did a pretty good job. Yeah. But all those others, I didn't even seen those,
Well, the second one...
the second one sounds like something I should see.
Oh, you need to see it. Because it's just so much fun. It's got Diane Franklin, she was like she was in a lot of teen movies. She was in The Last American Virgin. She's real cute. And then the older brother is played by somebody, I had to write his name down. What was his name? It's Jack Magner, and he only made one more movie. He had a small part in Firestarter.
Okay.
But
That's the Drew Barrymore.
Right, with David Keith. And it was, the thing is Diane Franklin and this Jack Magner guy, they elevate it because they're good actors in this.
That can make a big difference.
Yeah, and this kid, he's really, I don't know how old he was, but he's supposed to be like 16 to 18. But he can really be scary. But I got to tell you, it's like of all these bad things, he's got a Walkman. And the demon talks to him over the Walkman. And it's got the most phony, they should all be dead sort of voices. And it is so silly and so bad.
Laugh out loud, scary.
And yeah, but so good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you need to see it. You'd love it.
All right. I think the Paranormal Activity movies are also like haunted house type stories because people do get possessed.
Right.
And it's more of a curse on the family as it comes out. The first one, absolutely horrifying. The Blair Witch Project, you had the found footage and all that stuff. Paranormal Activity, it's like just homemade cameras. Something's going on.
Surveillance video.
Yeah. And surveillance. And the first one, it was just a couple.
Is that the name of the movie,
Paranormal Activity?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the first one was out in 2009, I believe it was. And it was good, and it was scary, and it was just like, of course, the big scene everyone remembers, they felt like something was happening in the middle of the night, so they just had the camera, and so you're just watching them sleep, and they're speeding up the camera. And all of a sudden, she stands up and goes and stands over him, and minutes are ticking by, and she's just like hovering over her husband and like rocking back and forth, and just see little things like that, just like really creepy. And I think at one point maybe the bedding comes off, and you don't, So
when things move just by themselves, that scares the crap out of me.
Well, stay away from this whole franchise.
I'm not a horror movie person anyway, as you know.
But they did a pretty good job of continuing the story, too, because the second one, her sister ends up, her family's involved, but she's still in it, and she's part of it. And the second one was, 2010, and then even 2011, they had a third one where it's even more extended family, but they kept wrapping it around the first sister, and you realize, the whole family's cursed, and it's different houses where this kind of stuff is going on. They've done 7 of them now, so I don't know if they held up. I haven't watched the later ones, but the first one was great, and they just kind of upped the stakes with each one. The first one was very small, just a man. I don't know if they had a child. I think they had a child. Yeah, they had a child. Yeah. But it's just the two of them and one child, and then there's a sister, and they've got a couple of kids, and it just gets more complicated. And then the first sister, she's in I think she's even in the fourth one, but I don't remember that one. So,
I only saw those first 2.
But I would say the first 3 at least are worth watching. And it was just real inventive, and nothing like that had really been done before. Where you just have we could do that. Oh, I could get that footage, and then you're like, do I want to film myself sleeping and see what happens after I fall asleep? Do I want to see the covers come off mysteriously, or someone just walk into the room and stand and watch me, or
I think that is the first one I think that used surveillance video as a primary source for what you're watching.
Yeah,
but for something about that is always kind of creepy.
Yeah.
They do that in Lost Highway. It's there's somebody, they send them videotapes and somebody's been watching me in the bed, and there's I think it's Code Unknown or Hidden, I can't remember, one of the Michael Haneke films, same thing. And it's always stuff. And then there was, what was that movie, Look? That's the entire movie's told by surveillance cameras.
Oh, yeah, what was that? I remember that.
I think it's called Look. I think it's
all surveillance cameras, and there's several different people in it. And,
right.
Yeah.
And you're having to watch and keep up with these different characters.
Because it's all happening at the same time.
Right.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a really inventive, good movie.
That was good.
Yeah.
Well, as long as we're talking about haunted places and all that, Evil Dead, what do you think of that?
I love the Evil Dead.
Yeah. Me too.
Again, I saw that at the theater with my late wife, and she came out of it, and she was literally shaking. Her body was just
really
trembling after the Evil Dead.
Wow. That first one was 1981, and then the
filmed
Evil
in
Dead
Morristown.
2 came out in 87. Yeah, filmed up the road from here in Knoxville, a cabin out. I think it's on private land, but I think the film crew was from Michigan or something, and they were looking for a place where they could film it, and they all came down here, and they just found. And I read some story. They said we knew that the locals were probably wondering what the hell we were doing and what we were doing out of that cabin.
And they bought all the K-Rose syrup because the fake Bloods made the K-Rose syrup.
Buying all their K-Rose syrup.
So nobody had any K-Rose syrup in that town.
Yeah. Because you want to dye K-Rose syrup to get your blood.
Right.
It was a bloody movie. And
but the thing about that one is
Bruce Campbell.
Campbell.
He's fantastic. And of course, it's a Sam Raimi.
Right.
So that's the director, and Bruce Campbell, and he was dynamite because it was also humorous, even though it was really scary, and you had all of his friends, go apeshit, so.
Well, the scariest part, I think, is he's had to lock them in the cellar. He's had to chain them in there.
One's in the cellar,
and one's poking her head up and goes, "When you're dead, who'll lock you in the cellar?"
Yeah. And these were his friends, and I think his girlfriend. And
Just
that was great. And I thought the second one was good, too.
Well, the interesting thing about the second one, and I can't decide which of the three I like best.
The second one was 87.
I love them all. But the first one basically retells the entire first movie in the first half hour.
The second one.
The second one does. Retells the whole first movie and uses some footage from it and then goes on and gets crazier. And it actually gets, the first one, the humor is kind of light. And I don't know if I'm supposed to laugh at this or not. The second one's got full-on humor. The third one is hilarious and made to be funny all the way through.
Yeah. And was it the first one where the woman was raped by the tree?
Yeah, the tree. It's like a big grapevine.
Yeah. They all say they regretted that and they wish they hadn't done that scene. But
I think it makes it scarier.
It's a whole different threat.
You don't think? That's the thing. It seems silly when it starts and you're watching it. I was watching it in the theater. It's like they're not going to do this. No, and then they do it, and it's like it's really scary.
Yeah.
And
I imagine.
Yeah. And she, recuperates enough to run in and try to tell everybody, and it's like, then all hell breaks loose.
I think there was already one of them was already like possessed at that point. When I don't remember
I can't remember. I can't remember for sure if there is or not. But other things are happening.
You mentioned the third one. You're talking about Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness
from '92. I like that one because it's the funniest of the three. I don't think it's quite as scary as the other two, but
nowhere
it's
near.
Definitely higher production values. Did they do the second one at the cabin in Morristown too?
No, I don't think they went back for that. They have the.
It's just like a piece of chimney now is all that's left up. And apparently people make a pilgrimage going up there. But anyway, go ahead. You really liked Army of Darkness too, right?
Well, one of the things I really like about and Sam Raimi is like he loves stop motion too, but it's like he uses stop motion. He doesn't use like digital effects. It's like old fashioned from the '30s style stop motion, and it works. In the second one, there's a spot where like the skeleton comes apart and comes back together. And it's real kind of whimsical, but just the way it's done makes it even scarier than it would be if it were more realistic. It's just, I think those three films are absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I agree. Evil Dead Rise, did you see that, 2023?
I got about halfway through that and stopped.
It wasn't funny.
Right.
But it was better than I thought it would be. It was directed by, who was that? Lee Cronin. Anyway, 2023, and it was an urban tale, and it was like two adult sisters, and children were at risk, and children were very much part of the possession and everything. Slightly older children. They weren't little kids. Yeah. I think one of them was pretty young, but and I thought it was pretty good. It was. There wasn't really any humor elements from what I remember.
Well, see, that's the thing that bothered me watching it. It just seemed like it was, the opening part of it was just so gory.
Yeah.
Without any of the humor at all.
Right.
And to me, that's what makes...
And you had children in peril, which is kind of uncomfortable. Right. And I'm not going to say they all survived either.
Right.
But it was so that's kind of like crossing a line where you almost every time you see a horror film, and that's fine. But if you see a horror film and you see a kid, it's like, okay, the kid's going to live. I know the kid's going to live.
The rules have changed.
The rules have changed, yeah. So that's something to beware of. Do you have any more not possessed homes or anything like that?
Well, The Conjuring.
Let's talk about The Conjuring. What is it they call it? The Conjuring universe.
Right, and that starts off, like possessed objects.
Yeah.
And, having those objects, the spirit can get inside you and possess you. And The Conjuring, the whole series, everything I've seen anyway from it, was a real surprise to me because I didn't expect it to be good at all, and it was really scary.
Right, and all the Conjurings, at least, they star Vera Farmiga and what's his name, Patrick Wilson,
right,
as this couple, and they're great. Mm-hmm. They're great. They're like great actors, and you believe their relationship, and they're like, what are they, spiritualists or something? They're like trying to investigate paranormal investigators.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's set. I don't know when it's set, like 70s and 80s or something like that. And so The Conjuring, I think it was great. But I will say I saw The Last Rites, and that's in theaters now.
Right.
And it is time to be over with it. I think.
It?
Yeah. I saw, and we should say that this Conjuring universe, it includes all the Conjuring movies,
Annabelle,
and
how many of them are
includes,
there? How many of them are there?
There's so many. There's like 3 or 4 Conjuring movies now, and there's 3 Annabelle movies, and there's
7.
2 Nun movies.
Oh, I forgot the Nun part of it too.
They were in the first Nun, and so there's like, what is that like?
It's amazing. I've never even heard of this movie.
What?
I've never even heard of this movie.
It's a huge franchise.
James
and
Wan.
It started. The first one was in 2013.
Well, I just don't do horror
right,
movies.
Right. Well, and there's some overlap, and the first one was in 2013, and the ones with all of them are pretty good.
Yeah.
The Annabelles, there are 3 of those, I believe, and the Nun, there have been 2. I like the second Nun. That was in France, and Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga aren't even in that one. But watching this last one, it's like, I don't know where they're going to go anywhere. What I do like is they try to add more personality, and they build the characters more. And now this is like, we've seen these people in like 4 or 5 movies together now as a couple, and they've got a daughter, and she kind of factors into this last one.
Oh, okay.
So they make it more personal with her involved. And I think it's probably the latest one. I think it's supposed to be like the mid-'80s when it's happening. And it's based on a true couple,
right.
And so there were whatever we decided they're called paranormal investigators. Yeah. Anyway, it's a good franchise. I think it was getting a little creaky, and I think watching this one, it's like, a cross is on fire. A cross is on fire again. And then there's like, there's a flood of blood, and no, it's just a vision. Another flood of blood, and like, why are these houses so poorly lit? It's like you'll see lighting along the wall, but in the center of the room, it's dark. And then they would be seeing things, and when you look at it again, no, that's not what you thought you saw. And levitation, there was levitation, and it's like, okay, there's nowhere to go, it's like...
The thing to me about The Conjuring is, like, I liked the first one, and I was really surprised at how scary and fun it was.
Yeah.
And I thought the second one was even better.
Yeah.
And
one thing about the latest one is there are a lot of characters who show up from the earlier movies.
Oh, really? Okay.
So that's cool. You get to see little cameos from them.
Yeah, I haven't kept up with, everyone that comes out, but I was just so surprised that the second was better than the first one, and the first one was good.
Yeah. They've had a level of, like a pretty high bar that they keep all the movies at. But this last one, it was a little creaky and a little bit, okay, I'm kind of done with this now.
Well, there's only so many
And the
times.
Nuns, that's a whole other thing going its own direction now. So if they're doing more Nuns, there's supposed to be, I don't know if there's going to be another follow-up to Last Rites or what. I don't know. I think there's another Annabelle maybe too. But anyway... It's kind of played its course. It's been like 10 or 12 years now, and
but it's kind of amazing to have
Yeah.
that many
Oh,
spin-offs
yeah.
and have them be decent.
yeah, one of the biggest franchises in history of horror movies.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, while we're on that sort of thing, I brought this movie up before and recommended it. The Last Exorcism from 2010.
Okay.
Which is about a guy who is a fake exorcist. He has all these like magic tricks that he does to fool people into thinking that he's really, exorcising demons and stuff. And he's got a documentary film crew going with him to film his last exorcism, and after that he's going to explain to the world how he does that and show that it's all fake. And then he winds up in a situation that he did not expect.
Okay. Who was that?
Oh, gosh, I can't think of the character. I mean, nobody in it was a particularly big, famous actor.
So many movies with exorcism and possession in the titles, and it's like I've seen most of them, I think, and they all they're just a blur to me. Well, unless it's like, what was it, the Immaculate, where Sydney Sweeney, at the end of the movie, has this insane, like 5 or 10 minute burst at the end of that movie. But otherwise, it was just like all the others, and I can't distinguish them from each other.
I still haven't seen that one. You recommended that.
Well, just watch the last 10 minutes, because it's like, oh my god, I didn't expect this, and so. But up until then, it's just like, oh, this is just another, it's set in a convent, or anyway, and it's like I say, you got the old priest shows up with the little black bag, and there's a cross, and there's holy water, and there's a Bible, and here we go again, and it's like, that's why these other possession type movies that don't really have the Christian or religious resolution to them, those are more interesting because they're more open-ended, and you don't necessarily know where it came from or where it's going, or like when the house is the source of possession or whatever. One of my favorite. I
was just going to say, the guy who played the Exorcist in The Last Exorcism is Patrick Fabian.
Okay,
which
don't know it.
You see his face every once in a while, but that makes it even better that you've never seen these characters before, these actors for the most part.
Well, this is one I liked, one of my favorites, and it was just an old cheesy one from 1987.
Okay.
John Carpenter's The Prince of Darkness.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one.
And it was, the thing about this one, it was like you had a priest and a team of like quantum physics college students get together in this home in Los Angeles, and they have like a big tube of some like phosphorescent liquid that's just like rotating, and they're trying to figure out what the hell it is, and it's a liquid Satan, and it's just so bizarre, and like all the homeless people are gathering around the house because they sense that something's happening. I think ants or some kind of bug or something, they're all coming to this house, and the liquid is sneaking out when people aren't expecting it, and just like possessing another person and possessing another person, and then there's like some normal guy who's like a cop who's somehow caught up in it all. But it was like such an interesting tell on, and the possessions were cool because like one of them, you've got one of the college students, and she's just like typing, and she's like always inputting data, and then one time they go in and something's a little wrong, and like her head's twisted a certain way, and she's just pounding on the keyboard, and she's like possessed, and they can't do anything with her. And one of them gets pregnant. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember that. I saw when it came out.
Oh yeah, because it was like that was going to be the birth, and so like she's like swelling up, and she's just like it's just a weird. It's 1987. The special effects probably don't hold up so well, but it was like a really cool, a liquid Satan is causing all this. And you got quantum physics.
Reminds me of the canned water you bring.
Oh, liquid death. Yeah. That's pretty much what it was. I don't know. I've got some kind of rando ones where it's more of curses related type possessions. Jennifer's Body.
Oh yeah,
from 2009. So.
And they got trashed. A lot of people didn't like that movie.
People didn't like it. But the revisionists have come along and said, "Hey, this is actually a good movie."
Yeah.
And it was because there's such a negative backlash at Megan Fox, who is from here, so we like her. But she, she just wasn't seen as like a legitimate actress. But she's in it with Amanda Seyfried.
Yeah.
And Amanda Seyfried, and. That Amanda's like her kind of loser friend, and Megan Fox is like the hot girl in high school, and the curse in this case is they go to some band, watch some band play, and Megan Fox goes off with these guys, and then when she reappears you think, oh, she's been sexually assaulted or something like that. Well, what they did is, and this isn't giving too much away, I don't think, they had to sacrifice a virgin, and she wasn't really a virgin, so it didn't work. So she turns into a cannibal instead. So she's possessed because she wasn't a virgin, and she was sacrificed as a virgin, and she's becomes cannibalistic, And Megan Fox is great for the role, And
she's scary.
Yeah, she was scary, So, and I don't know. I was thinking curses play a lot in Hereditary, which that was a cursed family, and Toni Collette was incredible. That was
she can do no wrong.
2018. Well, she didn't do any wrong in this one, but you had, you have a death in the family, and it's very grim and it's very sad. And again, we got children in peril for real, and it's creepy. And Toni Collette kind of takes over the movie toward the end, but it's also about her son and something he had done, and her husband. But they just have a family curse on them, and they kind of don't realize it. But terrible things keep happening to them.
And fairly early in the movie, you get a shock, a significant shock.
Are you talking about
in the car?
Yeah. That was something, and then they don't just leave it with that, it just,
It just keeps getting worse.
Yeah, but if you want to, it really kind of brings you down, but it's also scary, and it's very unique and groundbreaking and fantastic acting. I mean, Toni Collette should have gotten an Oscar for that.
She's really good.
She was amazing in that one. The Ring. That's also, you've got a little girl in there, and is she possessed? Is she a ghost? And is she a monster? She's kind of all of the above. But that and that also, The Grudge, the same way. These two, The Ring and The Grudge, were both based on Japanese movies, and then they were remade as American movies. The Ring came out in 2002 here, and then The Grudge came out in 2009. The Ring starred Naomi Watts. The Grudge starred Sarah Michelle Gellar. They had sequels that weren't as good, but they were kind of with The Grudge, sort of the house was haunted, and then this boy was possessed, and so it's not straight up possession, but there's some stuff going on.
Well, in The Ring, it's the videotape that's possessed.
Yes,
it's a VHS tape.
Yeah.
And if you watch the VHS tape,
you become cursed.
You
don't become possessed. You're just cursed. You've got 7 days, and then you're going to die. And you're going to die, in a very horrific way.
And I still think that's probably the scariest movie of since 2000 anyway.
Yeah, I mean the video. I like how they even mock this video as some woman sees it and says, or no, it was her husband or ex-husband or her baby daddy or what. I don't remember if they were married. But he said, oh, it just looks like, art school, pretentious art school student kind of video. But it was creepy. The video was creepy because it was kind of rando scenes. And
but then, you find out at the end what the significance is of those things in that videotape.
Those things weren't as random as you think. Yeah.
And that's the thing I took. It's so funny because they had a preview of that movie here before the final edit. I didn't announce it as anything like that.
Oh, okay.
And I took my middle son, who was, it was only rated PG-13.
Was it?
Yes, it's only PG-13.
Oh, how is that not an R?
I know.
Well, there's no nudity, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty tame in everything except just flat out horror. But I took my son, who was 11 or 12, and if you see the expanded edition, or you watch the extra scenes, there's a scene in it that they cut out.
Okay.
That really freaked my son out.
Oh, okay.
And then when we get to the point where they're in the cabin and she starts to watch the videotape, I look over at him and his eyes are huge and he looks terrified, and I said, do we need to leave? And he shook his head. Yes.
Let's get out of here. Yeah.
And we did. Yeah. So I didn't see any more of that movie until it came out later.
Yeah.
And it was
what movie are we talking about?
The Ring. Okay. Oh my gosh. It's
my gosh.
Yeah, it's directed by what's his name?
I don't know.
I can't think. He went on. It's not Verhoeven, but it's. It'll come to me in a minute. But it's another one of those that came out of nowhere and was just seriously terrifying.
Yeah. It was. Naomi Watts was great.
Yeah.
It was
another case.
And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful film because
Right.
it was in the Pacific Northwest and everything was kind of blue and gray and kind of faded and it was sort of raining all the time. The horse on the ferry.
That is one of the most suspenseful, crazy.
It's just insane because the horse knew she was cursed, you know? And so the horse loses its mind and runs loose, and
they're on the ferry.
Chaos.
Yeah, they're on the ferry, and the horse gets loose and jumps off the ferry.
Oh yeah, and that's not the end of it.
No,
that was just like
no.
And then the little girl who owns the horse had to watch it and scream, and it was amazing.
Yeah, but it's tremendous.
Also, Late Night with the Devil. That's a more recent one. It's not. The interesting thing about it is the possessed girl isn't really the main character for the longest part of the movie, because it's like you've got this host of a talk show in the 70s and he's trying to beat Carson, and he's got a special Halloween show, and then you've got like a psychic who's maybe a fraud, and then you've got a guy who's like bust frauds, these psychics who are frauds and everything, and then a woman comes in who's like a therapist, and she's got this girl with her who's like, I don't know, 14 or something
like that.
And the girl is possessed, and the girl's acting weird, but it's kind of more about the adults are having these conversations on the side, and you're not sure if someone's making this up or if that one's making that up or whatever, and the girl's acting weird and weirder, but you just think, oh, that's just her thing and all that. And whoo! That movie, when she finally comes to the spotlight, it's like, oh my God, that was crazy.
Well, we both saw that, I think, like the same week.
Yeah, it was out in 2024.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the first episodes we did of this that we both recommended it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's...
What's it called again?
Late Night with the Devil. And the cool thing about it is it takes place in the 70s.
Right.
And it's a fictitious network where the guy is competing with Carson and other late night people. Yeah. And he's just kind of hanging on. He's trying not to be
his ratings
canceled.
Aren't great. Oh, you get the background.
Right. And that's the thing is you get all this character setup, which I really like, is when they take the time to develop the characters so that you're invested in them before crap starts happening.
Right.
And that's the way this is there's like all these underlying little things going on, and then you get to this like, okay, we've got to make this last-ditch effort, make this big Halloween show, and it doesn't turn out the way they expect.
Right.
But it's so much fun. I mean, I don't know.
It was fun, and it really felt like, like an old Carson show, and he was trying his best, and the audience was into it. And
he has a sidekick.
And he has a great sidekick.
Yep.
He's the only rational one in the whole cast,
Yep.
And you don't know about the original sidekick, and something happens to him, and then the debunker, and you don't know whether to believe him, and he's saying all this is a lie, and then the therapist is kind of arguing with the host, and then you just got this girl just sitting there making weird faces, and you're like, is she going to do something? And she does. And the beauty of it is they preface it at the beginning of the story with saying this is found footage from a show that never aired or something to that effect. And you were getting background and everything. So it's not like this had aired or it was live. It was like, again, found footage, but in a really kind of inventive way.
Tons of fun.
And also Drag Me to Hell. I have to mention Drag Me to Hell. It just has bits of possession. And one of the best parts to me is they have the seance. So you got the medium that's going to help this. It's this girl, Alison Lohman. This is a 2009 movie, and Sam Raimi directed it. Justin Long's in it with Alison Lohman and Alison Lohman. Yeah, and Alison Lohman is being haunted by a curse. She's cursed because she wouldn't give a loan to this Romanian woman, I think. Or anyway, that woman is like a witch or whatever, and she curses her. So now all these terrible things are happening to her, and she goes to a medium who's going to help her. And so the medium, they're having kind of a seance to try to bring this monster back, and they have a plan to eradicate it and put it in this goat. So the medium gets cursed to start with. She gets possessed. And so she's saying all these things, and she's threatening Alison Lohman character. And Alison Lohman grabs her hand and puts it on this goat that they've brought in. And then the goat comes to life with the possession, and he looks at her and he goes, "You tricked me, you black-hearted whore!" and then the goat starts fighting, and the guy who's going to kill the goat, he gets possessed, and then he starts like dancing in the sky and all that. But it's like this quick interchange of possession and everything. It was a lot of fun. I love that movie anyway. It's so funny and weird and very just great like fight scenes and stuff like that in it.
My favorite part of it is the fly.
The fly, yeah, you talked about the fly last time. I remember that.
She opens her mouth and a fly flies in.
Right in her, goes right in her mouth. Yeah.
And it's the old woman's spirit.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I guess we can probably about done here, but I want to get into the omens for a minute.
Well, before you do the omens, let me throw in When Evil Lurks, which I've recommended before, but it is a South American possession film.
Okay.
And the evil spreads by touching the clothing or touching the body of somebody who's possessed.
Right.
And it puts a whole new spin on it, and it's really fun. It came out in 2023.
Okay.
And it is...
What's the name again?
It's called When Evil Lurks.
When Evil Lurks.
Okay. And it's in Spanish, so it's got subtitles, but you're not going to have any problem reading the subtitles. I mean, you're going to get it regardless. But it's another one that's really fun, and there's like a scene in there, I've talked about it before, that's like it should be taught in film schools. Watch this, because you're watching what's going on in the background, and suddenly something happens in the foreground, and you're like, "Oh my God!"
I'll have to look for that on streaming. So the omens, I don't know why I'm possessed myself to do this. I always tell terrible stories about me where I just look like such a dumbass, and of course I have a dumbass omen story, and I guess I just have to humble myself every time we do an episode. But so the Omen came out in '76, and I didn't see it, and that was Gregory Peck and Lee Remick. Of course, it's they have like I guess the spawn of Satan or whatever, their kid,
right,
and then. There was a second one, I guess it came out in '78, and had William Holden and Lee Grant. And the first one is Gregory Peck and Lee Remick.
Right.
So I didn't get to see them in the theaters, but I saw one, and then years later, I saw there was a third one called The Final Conflict, and it's a grown-up Damien, and Sam Neill's in it. It was pretty bad. But then I decided to watch two several years later on cable, and I thought, oh, I've already seen this. And I always thought there was something I didn't get about the movie that was so scary and all that. And bottom line is, I saw two twice, and I never saw one. And I always thought I saw one, and when everyone was talking about all these scary scenes, I didn't know where they came from. And it took it was only a few years ago that I realized. I sat down to watch one. I said, I'm going to watch this again. And it's like, I've never seen this movie.
Wow.
So for like 30 years, I thought I had seen this movie that I never saw. And I had it all mixed up. But what do you think about it? I mean, you have this possessed kid. And, it was certainly, again, it was back in the heyday of horror films.
The first time I saw it at the Ridge Theater in Oak Ridge when it came out. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think it was very scary, but as the years have gone by, when I watch it on TV, it's entertaining. I enjoy it. I mean, there's the deaths in it. Some of them are just so,
well, there's
stretched.
The nanny or whatever and people talked about it. That was in the first one, right? And people talked about it all the time. I'm like, well, did I sleep through that? Because I know, and it's like, oh. I never saw that movie. I saw the sequel twice.
The nanny is evil and taking care of him, and I think it seems like she killed the original nanny. I can't remember how she got to be there.
Yeah,
but she knows this is the spawn of Satan, and she's this Satan worshiper.
To take care of. Okay. Oh, okay.
But there's
Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah, there's a scene where David Warner is like a priest, and David Warner was in tons of movies back then. But I can't remember exactly how it happens. But they're like, somebody's moving a plate glass window to install it, and all of a sudden, he's in the wrong place at the wrong time, and the plate glass window slides off and chops his head off.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's
I
like...
saw that for the first time a few years ago.
And
it was I mean, it wouldn't have been my favorite, but I never saw it correctly. So
Well, it's fun, but it's not... I didn't find it scary at all.
Right.
The Demon Dogs...
What are we talking about?
The Omen.
Oh, the first one?
Yeah.
First one.
There's a
second one.
Yeah.
Which I thought was the first one.
There's a scene in the cemetery where these demon dogs take off after.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of fun. That's some suspense there. But the little boy is creepy as all get out. I mean, he's just this kind of spooky looking little kid. That's just he seems like pure evil.
Yeah, he looks evil.
Yeah.
I mean, how bad is it that your kid looks like he could be Satan? We'll put him in this movie.
We'll make $1 million off
Yeah, and he's like 6 or something. He's like a little bitty kid, 6 or 8 maybe. I don't know.
I've got one quick one to throw out. I forgot about, but William Friedkin directed it too. Did you see Bug?
Oh, I love Bug.
Bug. I don't know if it's a possession necessarily, but you had Ashley Judd, and she comes across Michael Shannon, and he has kind of like PTSD, and he becomes convinced. He's buying into all kinds of paranoid delusions and everything. This is from 2006.
Right.
And then she suddenly gets it too, and they're both just insane. And it feels like a possession because of the extreme measures that they go.
Yeah.
It had such a visceral reaction from the audience at the end. And some people were so pissed off at the ending. And I thought, wow, that was pretty amazing.
Oh, I thought the ending was great. But it's not a feel-good movie.
No. Ashley Judd was great in it too. So.
I thought everybody. I mean,
Michael Shannon and
her husband's Harry Connick, isn't it? Isn't it Harry
Connick?
Connick?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, everybody, and it's good. I mean, I don't think of that as a possession movie because I think it's just mental illness that spreads.
It's delusion. Yeah,
right. And I mean, that's a real interesting one to think about right now because it seems like that happens all over because of the internet.
Completely unplugged. Yeah,
people go crazy over conspiracy theories or whatever, and they start believing
that's what this all is. Yeah.
And it to me, it stands up as maybe everybody ought to watch this and see this really does. This can happen this way.
Yeah.
You get
touch earth, and
I got one that I don't know if it would qualify.
Okay.
What?
But what about Close Encounters of the Third Kind? They're possessed by something.
Yeah, I mean, he does. He's like building the devil's
tower out of mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes, yeah.
I mean, everyone that sees the spaceship just is possessed.
Think some of these diversions that we're doing, it's not straight ahead, just
I mean, it's not a horror movie, but it's scary.
I never thought about that, but yeah, I mean, I think it qualifies.
Yeah,
because
I win. I finally got to say something.
Yay! All right, should we move to recommendations?
I think we should. I think we covered that. See, we talked for an hour, no problem.
Rambled. Yeah, and I got to tell an embarrassing story about myself, which I apparently love to do. I'll do a music one.
Okay.
This is kind of so the song Betty Davis Eyes, it was a Kim Carnes hit in 1981, kind of in the spring, summer. And that was the year that MTV debuted. So it's putting the time in perspective. It was number 1 for 9 weeks, which was 5 weeks and then 4 weeks. It had 1 week some other song interrupted it, but it was a huge monumental hit, and it was at this time when all of music was about to change, and they've done a Betty Davis Eyes the Remixes album.
Really?
Which is, and it's new. It came out at the end of August, so it's fairly new. And Kim Carnes has been promoting it on social media. She's 80 now. Wow. But it was a really interesting song back in the day. And these remakes, they kind of tell you how remakes go. There's a remake by an act called Boys Shorts. And it's like a minute 30 into it before you even recognize anything at all of Betty Davis Eyes. Then there's a Cormac and Chinesky, which is fantastic. It's they take the slapping beat that comes in the middle of the song, and they take the elements, all the elements from the song, and they deconstruct it and they reuse them, and they have these sci-fi effects, and so it's like a fantastic kind of remix. Then there's an Ellie Escobar, which another remix. It takes a long time before you realize, that it's Betty Davis. It was okay. Then there's just some terrible ones. There's 2 by Ted Patterson. One's terribly boring. The other one's okay. It's playful and percussive, but again, it's and another one by Vicky Powell and Jeremy and W. Jeremy. These songs are, and this is what I hate about remixers, when they just create their own song, and then 2 or 3 minutes in, they'll just slide a little riff from the original. It's stop doing that. You don't deserve to have Betty Davis eyes and Kim Carnes in the title of your song. But fortunately, it is offset. There are a couple of good ones in there, especially that Cormac and Chinesky, because you really get a sense of like this is a modernized version of a classic pop hit. So that's it. Again, it's called Betty Davis Eyes, the Remixes. Kim Carnes.
You have a recommendation?
I do.
Go ahead.
It's a group called. Tell me if I've recommended this before. It's a group called Dawn of MIDI.
I don't think so.
Dawn, as in morning, and MIDI, MIDI, like the computer language that musical instruments speak to each other. And if you look at this group, it's a 3-person band, drummer, piano player, and a bass player. You think jazz trio. Mm-hmm. They're not at all that. Okay. They remind me of kind of like Philip Glass. They just do these rhythmic things, and they establish a pattern, and you kind of get lulled in, and it's got a good beat to it, and you catch yourself kind of nodding along. Mm-hmm. But each person's doing something in a slightly different time, and it keeps mutating.
Oh, cool.
There's 10 selections on the album, but if you listen to it, there's no breaks between it. It just keeps evolving into something else. It reminds me of Nick Barch.
Oh, okay.
Nick Barch's Ronin.
I love Nick Barch.
Kind of reminds me of that, too. It's kind of athletic. It's got a good beat to it. You don't have to focus on the differences that each person's doing because you can just kind of nod along and read. And it's great for reading. There's no vocals.
Okay.
But I just discovered it, and they've got one studio album. It's called Dysnomia, Dysnomia, Dysnomia. They also have a live album, but I have not listened to. I listened to the start of it, and it didn't appeal to me nearly as much as this one, so I just keep coming back to this one.
I'll definitely check that one out.
Dawn of MIDI.
Okay.
That sounds good. Well, I want to recommend Mary Gaucher, her 2005 album Mercy Now, which that song, I popped up on my flash drive that I have in my car. Gaucher is spelled like Gautier, like Jean-Paul Gaultier. Had a woman, when I reviewed the album, and put Mary's pronunciation of it in the.
Go ahead and spell it, because some people aren't going to know how to spell Gautier either.
Okay, it's Gauthier.
Okay,
and she pronounces it Gaucher. Okay. She's a great singer-songwriter.
Is she from Louisiana or something?
Originally from Louisiana. She's adopted, and she did a great album later on called The Foundling, which was all about being adopted and tracking her mother down. And her mother was behind the door. She was on her front porch at the door, and her mother wouldn't open the door.
Oh, wow.
But Mary, she got something out of that whole thing, and she felt better, and I think, she seems like a very happy person now. She's nice as she can be. Great singer-songwriter. Mercy Now was recently used in the TV show Yellowstone.
Okay.
So it keeps popping up all over. But
when was Mercy Now put out?
2005. And Mary's done a lot of things since then. But that song is just a tremendous song that everybody ought to hear. And it gets down deep in your soul.
Okay.
So Mary Gaucher, Gauthier.
All right. You got a film or TV thing?
Well, I ordered a movie from a bootleg site, a movie called Begotten.
Okay.
And it is directed by Elias Merhige. I don't know how you pronounce it. Merhige.
What have you been drinking, Wayne?
Yeah, no kidding. But anyway, I thought it was just awful.
Okay.
I just thought it was pretentious art junk, but it had it's shot super high contrast. You can't really tell what's going on half the time. There's no plot. I thought I was getting a surrealist thing, and then you get to the end, and the characters are God killing himself and Mother Earth and all this other stuff. So it's supposed to be symbolic, and it's like if it had just been nothing but surrealism, okay, I could have handled it. Once I found out, no, there's an actual plot or there's supposed to be a point to it, it's like, well, you were unsuccessful. Okay. But what I want to recommend is his movie from 2000, Shadow of the Vampire.
Okay.
Which is the only movie that I know of that has both John Malkovich and Willem Dafoe in it.
Oh, wow.
So two of your strangest actors working together.
When was that movie?
2000. And the plot of that is when Nosferatu, the original horror Dracula movie, came out in Germany, people were so entranced by Max Schreck, the actor, that some people, there was a rumor, and of course it helped, I'm sure, sales, that he was really a vampire. Okay. And that's the premise of this movie, is that they've really gotten a real vampire, which Willem Dafoe plays him, and John Malkovich.
I already believe in it.
John Malkovich is F.W. Murnau, the director, and the whole point of the movie is, yes, he's a real vampire, and they're trying to control him to make this movie.
Oh, wow.
And it's funny, and it's scary.
And he shows up on film?
Well, he shows up on film, but not in mirrors.
Oh, okay. Oh,
and that's one of the plot points that when people start catching on is like, oh shit, he's not in the mirror. But it's creepy, it's cruel, it's funny, it's a lot of fun. And like I said, I mean, those two actors working together. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's the only time to see that for nothing. No other reason you need to see it, just because of them.
They're together. Okay.
But yes, Begotten I thought was terrible. That was the guy's first film, and it just was like a bad art film.
I will not see that. I've already marked that out.
Oh, it's terrible. And Mark of the Vampire, or Shadow of the Vampire, is loads of fun.
All right. John, you got a...
I do. And I don't know, you may have mentioned, one of you guys may have mentioned this movie, but I just saw it the other night, and I thought it was just lovely. From 2016, it's called Sing Street, and it's by John Carney directed it. He directed Once, the movie about the guy from The Frames.
Once was great.
And Once was just really hits, well, this one really hits you in the heart, too. It's about a 15-year-old kid who is taken out of his private high school and put into a public school because his parents have come on to hard financial times, and he just gets bullied and beaten, and just everybody hates him. But one day he sees this beautiful girl on the stoop across the street from the school, and he goes over and talks to her, and she says she's a model, and she's waiting on a ride to take her to London where she's going to start her modeling career. And he says, well, would you like to be in a video with my band? And she said, well, I don't know. I've never done a video before. And well, he doesn't have a band either.
Oh, okay.
So he goes and gets friends, and they put a band together and start making videos with her in them. And it's really sweet.
What's the name of it again?
Called Sing Street.
Street.
The director wrote a lot of the songs, and the songs are really good.
Is it British or Irish?
Irish. So that's my recommendation.
All right. Cool. That's a good one. I'm not recommending The Conjuring Last Rites, as I've mentioned before. I did see it, whatever. But I'm going to recommend Splitsville instead. I don't know if you've heard of this one. It was wide release September 5th of 2025, this year. It's a comedy, and they call it an unromantic comedy. And it's directed by this guy named Michelangelo Cavino. And it's about... these two couples. The first couple is Kyle Marvin, who plays the guy Carrie, and Adria Arjana, who plays Ashley. So Carrie and Ashley are a married couple. They're on their way to spend time with their other friends, another couple. And it kind of takes these weird turns, and there's like this wreck out of the blue. They're like trying to have sex, and then all of a sudden there's a wreck, and they stop, and someone is killed in the wreck, and that just changes their tone completely. And then so the wife, Ashley, tells Carrie that she's been cheating on him and she wants a divorce. And he's trying to talk her out of it, and then he just like gets out of his car and just runs, and he runs through this field, and he's falling down, and he just keeps running, and they show him running like through fields and forests and through water and everything, and he ends up at the friend's house that they're going to visit, and he goes, Ashley's breaking up with me, and they're like, yeah, we know, she's already been by. So she took the car, went by. But then this other couple, the director, Michelangelo Cavino, he plays, I can't remember his name, and Dakota Johnson, Paul. And then Dakota Johnson, not my favorite actress, she plays Julie. And this is the other couple that they're going to visit. And in talking to Carrie, the technically the main guy, they admit that they're in an open relationship, which blows his mind away. And his friend Paul says, "Yeah, you could sleep with Julie. I don't care, And he says, and so that's kind of a bizarre thing that he throws out there, and it's a. I want to call it like a gen. These guys, the main guys, are both like 40, and the women are a little bit younger than that. And Dakota Johnson, again, no soul, nothing to her, but that kind of fits this character. And the other three actors are all great. But I like to think of like Judd Apatow, how he was kind of like a new comedy kind of guy 15 years before this, for kind of like a Generation X. It's like you had romantic comedies by the boomers, which kind of had formulaic things, and then Apatow and others kind of broke into new romantic comedy. And this is like a newer still, and these are like older millennials. They're like 40, and that's how older millennials are, and they're having kind of midlife crises, and they're talking about affairs and children, and whether they want children and what they want out of life. And like the Carrie's wife, Ashley, when she's saying she wants to break up, she said, I've only had sex with 7 men. And he said, "You told me I was your 4th." And she says, "You were." So she's had sex with 3 other men. Good. And then later he does go home to her. He does have sex with Julie. Mm-hmm. And that turns out to be a huge fight between him and Paul, because Paul finds out about it. And it's this great, it's like this real fight. And I read on it, and they were constantly, when they had time, they would go fight some more. And it's like awkward fighting, not great fighting, not terrible fighting. Right. But like at one point they break an aquarium, and they stop and they put the fish, they save all the fish, that came out of the aquarium. Another point, they're in the kitchen, they grab these knives and they go, no knives. And they put the knives back. But one of my favorite scenes is this Carrie guy. He goes back to Ashley, and she's having sex with a younger guy, and he says, "I'm just going to stay downstairs. I don't have anywhere else to go." And then she breaks up with the younger guy, and he invites the younger guy to also stay downstairs. And then later on, he's got her 3 new men that she's gone through and done with. They're all living downstairs with him, and she's with a woman. But it's funny, but the best part of this movie is this guy, Kyle Marvin, who plays Carrie. He's got this gentleness to him and this big heart, and I think it just really saves the whole movie, because the rest of the characters they're all flawed. Right. But you're pulling for him, and he's just this oaf, but it's just got an extra edge to it, so it feels fresh. And again, it's called Splitsville. Mm-hmm. I had a hard time remembering that name, so I don't know if that's a good title, but it's Splitsville. And
it's in the theaters? It's
in theaters now, yeah. It opened, it debuted, went wide release September 5th in 2025. So definitely a good movie. I enjoyed it.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So we're done. If you've got any ideas for us or any feedback for us, you can write us at howweheardit@gmail.com. And you can find us all over social media. And we enjoy doing this. It's fun for all of us, and we hope you enjoy it too. We will. Oh, we're coming up on Halloween, so be safe and have fun.
Yeah.
Bye.
You've been listening to How We Heard It with Chuck Campbell and Wayne Bledsoe, a podcast about music, movies, art, culture, whatever it is that's on their mind. How We Heard It was recorded at the Arbor Studio in Knoxville, Tennessee by me, John Baker. How We Heard It is a Cozy Planet production. If listening to this podcast has given you a burning sensation, then we recommend you sit in a hot tub until your symptoms fade away. If you'd like to reach out to Chuck or Wayne, or even me, you can send an email to howweheardit@gmail.com. So thank you for listening, and come on back and we'll have another episode for you next week.